Hello, in this tutorial I'm going to be going over how to add fractions. So I've set this tutorial up with 4 questions and we'll work through these each in turn to add these fractions together. So you have 2 types of questions when it comes to adding fractions. The first type is with the denominator, so the number at the bottom is the same, so in this case it's 7. And you have a different case where the denominator is different. So in this case we have 7 and 4. So before I begin, just a bit of a recap. If we had a fraction question in the form a over b plus c over d, so you'll notice that the denominators here are not the same. So b is not the same as d. So the way we would tackle this is you rewrite the first fraction, so a over b, and you multiply it top and bottom by the denominator, or the bottom number, of the second fraction, so in this case d. So you've got a times d over b times d. Then you rewrite the second fraction, so c over d, and you multiply it top and bottom by the denominator of the first fraction, so in this case b, so it'd be b there, so c times b over d times b. So you would have a over b plus c over d equals a d over b d, so the d coming from the denominator of this fraction, plus c over d multiplied by b over b, so cb over db, b coming from the denominator of this fraction. And then you've got a case then where the denominator, so in this case bd, is the same in both fractions. So I know we've got bd and db, but bd equals db. It's the same because they're just multiplied. Okay, so let's begin. So if you'd like, you can pause the video now, have a go at these in your own time, and then unpause the video to go through the solution. Okay, so now for the solutions. So in this question A, the denominator is the same, so therefore the same denominator can be used in the answer. And as for the numerator, so the number at the top, it's just the addition of 1 and 3. So 1 plus 3 equals 4, so 4 over 7. Okay, so that's a nice easy one to get started with. Okay, now we have a case where the denominator, so the number at the bottom, is different. So the first thing you do is rewrite the first fraction. Okay, and now we multiply this fraction, so top and bottom, by the denominator of the second fraction. So multiplied by 4, multiplied by 4. Add. So you continue writing out the question essentially. So now we've got 6 over 4. And we are multiplying this top and bottom by the denominator of the first fraction. So in this case 7. So multiplied by 7, multiplied by 7. Okay, and now let's work out these small multiplications. So we will have, so 4 times 2, or 2 times 4, is 8, over 7 times 4 is 28, plus 6 times 7 is 42, all over 4 times 7 is 28. So now we have a setup where the denominator is now the same. So we've both got 28, so therefore the answer will have a common denominator of 28, and then the number at the top, so the numerator, is just the addition of 8 and 42. So 42 plus 8 equals 50. So 50 will go in here. So that is the answer to the addition of these 2 fractions. If you want, you can simplify these as well, but I'll leave that and go over that in another video. Okay, so now let's move on to question C. So again, our denominator is different in both of these fractions, so therefore we do the same process again. So this time, this fraction top and bottom is multiplied by 3, and then we have our 7 over 3 multiplied top and bottom by 5, coming from the denominator of the first fraction. So now this will give us 30 over 15 plus 35 over 15. So now we have the same denominator in both of these fractions. So that means we can use the same denominator, and then it's just the addition of the two top numbers. So 30 plus 35 is 65. Okay, again, that can be simplified, but I'll do that in another tutorial. Now let's move on to D. So you'll notice here that we now have 3 fractions that we need to add together. Okay, now with this sort of question, when you have 3 or more fractions, the process is exactly the same, it just takes a little bit longer. So first we start off with our first fraction. So we've got 8 over 2. And we now multiply this top and bottom by this denominator and this denominator together. So it would become 8 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 10. So 4 and 10. Okay, so you exclude this 2 because this is the fraction that we're working with, and you multiply it by the denominator of the other fraction. So if there was another fraction here, then you'd use that denominator as well in this multiplication. Okay, and then the same applies for the 2, multiplied by 4 multiplied by 10. Okay, so then add. So now we have 3 over 4, and we multiply this 3 and 4 by the denominator of the other 2. So again, you miss out this 4, and it's the other denominators. So 2 and 10, 2 and 10. And then the final fraction will be 7 over 10. And now this is multiplied by this 2 and this 4. Again, miss out this 10, and it's the other denominators that are remaining. So if this was on paper, you could cover this fraction with your finger and see what denominators are remaining, and you use those. So 2 and 4, 2 and 4. And now you work out those multiplications. So here we'd have 8 times 4, so it's 32, multiplied by 10 is 320. So we have 320 all over 2 times 4 is 8, times 10 is 80. Okay, now I'm confident that as this is 2, 4 and 10, 2, 4 and 10, 2, 4 and 10, the denominator in all of these will be 80. So we don't need to go through the working out of the denominator again, because we know it should be 80, and it is. And then it's just a case of working on the numerators. So here we've got 3 times 2, which is 6, times by 10, so that's 60. Here we've got 7 times 2, which is 14, times 4, so that would give us 56. So 56 over 80. And now it's a case of adding all these together. We know they're going to be over 80. So we'll have 320 plus 60 plus 56. Now, it's best to do some sums like this without a calculator. So 320, 60, 56. So we'll have the 6. 13 there, remainder 1. And, carry over the 1, so 4. So that gives us our 436 over 80. Again, this can be simplified, but again, I'll go over that in another video. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this has been useful. If you have any questions, then please leave them below. Okay, thank you.